certain industry that's very competitive, like web design, photography, anything that really there's just a lot of competition or low barriers to entry, may be a little bit difficult for you to compete on those levels because the market is saturated, or there's just so many things already happening in the marketplace. And with all that competition, you don't know how your customers are going to pick you versus the competition. So let me share with you a few different ways that you can compete, and that way you can really see where you can leverage up, where you can stand out. Now, normally what you want to do is look at your unique selling point or unique selling proposition. What is it different that you can offer your customers? How is it that you can be different? So if you're in an industry like photography, maybe you focus on a very sub-niche within photography, like sports or weddings or baby and maternity photos. So those things can also help you out. And within that, you can even go deeper. So if you look at a 80-20 rule and principle, so here I may have photography. Now you take the 20%, right? So from a whole big industry perspective, I took photography, okay? And now this becomes my 80-20 principle. Then I take this little sub-niche and I might go into, let's just say, wedding photography. And again, now that I'm in wedding photography, I may take this little part of it and go into maybe rustic weddings or country weddings. So you continue to do this 80-20 principle and continue to take it further and further until you zoom in and really hone in on your targeted customer. But if you don't do this all the way through, or you're struggling to get there, or even if you are already there, how is it that you can compete against all the other industries? Even if you are 4 levels deep in your niche or industries or specialization, you already have your unique selling point. How is it that you can compete against this saturated market? Well, there is some good news. And the way that I remember it is PSD squared, or SQ. And this is the 5 ways that you can compete. Okay, so if you're looking to compete in an industry, these are the 5 ways. And no matter where you are in business, whether it's a competitive industry, whether it's a very easy industry, if you dominate one or more of these areas, then you'll be able to pick up customers quite easily. So what are these areas to compete in? Well, the first one is price. You've probably guessed that because a lot of people compete on price because it's the one key thing that we always look at, because it's in the end what we're paying for. And when customers don't have knowledge or information of a certain product, they default to price. It's kind of the same concept of going into a store and looking at the price of an item. You typically think, oh, because this one is more expensive, it's probably better in terms of quality. So quality is another way to compete. But you can see that we typically will default to price. So what are some of these other ones? So service, let's just fill this in. Service is the other one. Delivery. And the final one is sales capacity. And I got this from Larry Steinmetz from his book. And when you look at all these ways, you can see all the different ways that you can compete. So if you can have the lowest price, that's going to give you an edge. Now, typically, I say do not compete only on price, because if you're always competing on price, those buyers are never loyal to you. Service is a great way to compete, because just like when you go into a restaurant, one may have great, fantastic service, constantly catering towards you. Others may not have very good service, but they may have good food. So again, there's different kinds of ways to compete, and you have to find what is it, the thing that you want to focus on within your business. It's very difficult to be the leader in all of these areas. So take any company, for example, take Apple. They typically do not compete based on price. They may focus on quality, maybe the sales capacity. It could be service, but it's other ways to compete than just beyond price, because they do not have the lowest price. Delivery is also another way to compete. Look at the Tiffany blue boxes that they give you in the rings. So when you get a Tiffany jewelry or a necklace or a ring, it gets that Tiffany blue box. You open it up and you know exactly how it is. Also, it could be the speed. Okay, so if you look at Amazon on their delivery, how quickly they do it, and also now that they have a partnership with USPS to where they deliver on Sundays, again, delivery can be major. It could be the way you package it, it could be the speed of the delivery, it could be that you handle delivery problems if something breaks, but delivery is another way to compete. Sales capacity, this is pretty much like marketing. So if you're able to communicate your sales message better to the customer, how much value this can give them, your product or service, it's another way to leverage and compete above your competition. And finally, quality. So if you're looking to compete in an industry that's very competitive, that's very saturated, there's a lot of things out there, start with your unique selling point. So unique selling point or unique selling proposition. So when you have that unique selling point, let's just say you're in photography, okay, so I'm doing photos. You get into this, well, now what, okay? Now what's the next step? Then what's the next step? Then what's the next step? And you continue to be more and more specific. So if you get into photos, it could be, you get into the videography area, and then you get into the wedding part, okay, doing videos for weddings. And then it could be that you only do celebrity weddings, or famous people. So again, you have your specific area of expertise. So start with that unique selling point. And then look at the other 5 ways that you compete. If you're still struggling with this, price. Can you be more competitive on price? Can you be more competitive on service? Can you give your customer a better service experience? How about delivery? Can you deliver more, better to them, faster, in a different way? What else can you do with that delivery? Are you giving them bonuses? Sales capacity, how's your marketing? And then finally, the quality of your product. So I hope you really got some great takeaways from this lesson. And if you're struggling in an industry, it's just difficult, find that unique selling point and find your best method or way to compete. You probably won't be able to win out in every single area, but if you can win out in 1 or 2 areas, it'll allow you to really stand out in the competition that, hey, this is the company you want to go with, or this is the person you want to go with for this, or they have great service, or they have a great quality, that product's going to last forever. So find that unique selling point and find your area of specialty or expertise or where you want to lead. Thanks for joining me in this week's video. If you enjoyed it and you want to see some of the other in-depth trainings that I have, as well as some of the courses and products that I offer, click this button right here and get on my newsletter list so that you can get some